piece by Shostakovich is written in honor of the Jewish laughter through tears, so it copies even some of the sacred tunes up to the klezmer. And all the way through the program, you'll hear familiar Jewish songs, the sweet and the not so sweet, and always that theme of laughter through tears. Thanks.
Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Monmouth County. My name is Marinelle Mukherjee. My pronouns are she and her. I serve as Vice President for Staff Resources and also the Worship Committee, which is what brings me here today. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. Our mission is to create community, transform ourselves, and transform the world. This morning, we have a guest speaker, Julie Newhall. Reverend Julie Newhall is a longtime member of UUCMC, where she was ordained in 2004. So it's a little over 20 years ago. This service is thanks to the endowment, paid for thanks to the endowment, UUCMC endowment for supporting today's service through its annual disbursement to the congregation. You can find out more information on how you can help our endowment strengthen the mission of UUCMC at www.uucmc.org/giving/planned giving. Now, Helen, I'm sorry, but I can't hear words very well, and I'm sitting here. But anyway, I hope I don't repeat what you said. She has chosen a lot of songs that are Jewish songs, Jewish folk songs. She has invited us all, if something you're familiar with and it's not a formal standing up singing time, to hymn, sing along or hum along if you know it, especially during the invitation to generosity, which is in your teal hymnal 1044. Eli, Eli. I wanted to say Eli, but it's Eli. Okay, following this service, we have an interim congregational meeting at noon. So there'll be time for coffee and snacks, and it's in the community room. Members, please be sure to check in with Lisa and Allie at the welcome membership table at coffee hour. We have a special announcement, and David there he is. Okay, he's going to give us.
Thank you, Marinelle. I'm David Schreier, Council Moderator, and I'm very pleased to honor this month's Volunteer of the Month, Chris Buja. So, come on up, Chris. Okay. Chris Buja, wife Melanie, and two boys, Ryan and Kyle, moved to Aberdeen in summer of 2023 and started attending UUCMC soon thereafter, officially becoming a member in May of 2024. Chris helps with Ryan and Kyle faith development classes when he isn't helping with their scouting, soccer, and karate activities. While relatively new to UUCMC, Chris has been a UU for many years, first attending a UU congregation in 2003, and soon volunteering as a youth advisor, and then serving as a religious educator from 2006 to 2017. Chris works at the Container Store, and while he helps customers organize their homes, his own journey of organization continues, much like UU is a lifelong journey of discovery. Chris enjoys running, having completed several marathons over the years, including New York City and Paris. Though his miles are down, he does plenty of running around on behalf of Ryan and Kyle. So once again, congratulations, Chris.
I draw your attention to the backside of your order of service for announcements and service information for next week. For those on the live stream and for video viewers, the order of service link is available to you in the YouTube service description box. After service, refreshments will be served in the community room, and people of all ages are welcome to visit with one another. If you are new to us, please do check out our website, uucmc.org, where you can sign up to get all the latest news of the congregation by email. We look forward to getting to know you better. Please put your devices on silent, okay, as we enter into the worship together. Welcome again to this place of love and hope.
This piece I'm going to play is a song of tradition and the sweet and not so sweet.
Good morning. I'll get there. Our call to worship today comes from Robert French Levins. Holy and beautiful the custom which brings us together in the presence of the Most High. To face our ideals, to remember our loved ones in absence, to give thanks, to make confession, to offer forgiveness, to be enlightened, and to be strengthened. Through this quiet hour breathes the worship of ages, the cathedral music of history. Three unseen guests attend: faith, hope, and love. Let all our hearts prepare them place. Come, let us worship together. For the chalice lighting, I've invited Ivan Polanski, a longtime member of the congregation, to light the match. This reading is called Blessed is the Match. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame. Blessed is the flame that burns in the heart's secret places. Blessed is the heart with strength to stop its beating for honor's sake. Blessed is the match consumed in kindling flame.
Number 392. It's around, but I think you haven't sung it before, so we'll sing it today without being around and learn the words, and then another time we'll sing it together as around. But the words may be strange to you because they're in Hebrew and English, and I think it'd be fun to sing it in Hebrew. The words are Hidamatov, say that. Umamayim, Shabarachim, Gam Yachad. Say it again. Hidamatov, Umanayim, Shabarachim, Gam Yachad. Ready? Tov Umanayim, Shabarachim, Gam Yachad. Hine matov sheberachim gam yachad. Hine matov sheberachim gam yachad. And you repeat the first part. So we'll do part A, part B, and part A, and it sounds like this.
Today's story is called, very modestly, How to Change the World in 12 Easy Steps. It's written by Peggy Porter Tierney, but inspired by Eva Moses Core. And I'm going to start at the back of the book and tell you about Eva Core. When she was a child, she and her family were put into a prison camp where her parents and older sisters died. Many years later, Eva met a doctor who worked at that camp where her family died. The doctor was kind and gave her the help she asked for. She decided that writing him a letter of forgiveness would be the best way for her to thank him. Eva then decided to forgive all of the people who had caused her so much pain. To her surprise, forgiveness gave her feelings of power and happiness, and she wanted to tell everyone about her experience. And she did. She talked to people of all ages and all over the world about the importance of and the power of forgiveness. Many children are taught to say, "I'm sorry," when they've hurt someone, which is good. But can you forgive someone who has hurt you? Let's listen to what Peggy and Eva tell us about changing the world and forgiveness. Do you know you have the power to change the world? It's easier than you think. Start small. Make your bed. Tidy your room. Give your parents a kiss and a hug. If you see a piece of litter, a piece of trash, pick it up. Throw it away. If you see someone who needs help, volunteer to help them. Smile at someone, especially if they don't look like they're ready to smile up, just might make a difference. Do you see someone sitting all alone, say at a school cafeteria? Well, invite them to join you or go sit with them. Is someone being bullied? Stand up to the bully with them, but don't bully the bully. For instance, invite the one being bullied to join you doing something and just walk away. Everyone's different. Some people seem more different than others. Accept them for who they are. And just be the best version of yourself that you can be. Stay in school and develop your beautiful mind. Never give up on yourself and your dreams. So many things in life are possible. And forgive people who hurt you or your feelings. Forgiveness does not mean that what they did was okay, or that you have to be friends. It is important to stay safe from people if they might hurt you again. Forgiveness means that you decide you don't want to be angry anymore. And when the anger is gone, there is more space inside of you for happiness. It might take some time to be ready to forgive, but that's okay. Oh, we sing our children out in peace. Go now in peace. week in this congregation, we are provided with an opportunity to practice generosity. This is your invitation to contribute to the well-being of our congregation and to our social justice partners through the good works of organizations which receive half of the monies each month. This month, on this World Peace Day, as we renew our commitment to building a culture of peace, our share of the plate recipient is the American Friends Service Committee, AFSC, brings together people of all faiths and backgrounds to challenge injustice. AFSC's Immigrant Rights Program plays a critical role in promoting dignity and respect for all. For those of you present here in the meeting house, the plates will be passed by the ushers. Online instructions are located in the service description box. You may join this time of generosity via text, send your offering by mail, or charge your contribution online with a memo designating an amount to AFSC. Thank you, and please give generously.
You may sing along with this at 10:44.
In my experience, worship allows us to explore the height and depths of the human experience. The sermon I'm going to share with you was inspired many years ago by the Hasidic rabbi who ordained me as an interfaith minister. It was 1998 when I was ordained. The ordination took place in the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Our entire graduating school class from the new seminary sat in endless rows at the front of the cathedral, which had been struck by lightning so that there was no electricity in it. The 3-hour service took place by candlelight. Rabbi Gelberman, who had launched the new seminary and the new synagogue on the Upper West Side, told us the story, the very tragic story, of his family's experiences after he left Hungary and came to the United States. He had been offered a position as a rabbi for a congregation here in New Jersey. When the United States entered World War II, he joined the Army and became a chaplain. He was unable to arrange for his wife and small child to come to the United States. He spent years writing to his family, and it was only 4 years after the war that he learned that his wife, his child, and 15 brothers and sisters had all been murdered in Auschwitz. I went to Auschwitz a few years ago in memory of him and walked the entire grounds of that camp, overwhelmed by the feeling of death and despair in that place. Rabbi Gelderman collapsed after he got the news of the deaths of his wife and daughter. He gave up his congregation. He went into a state of complete collapse and into intensive therapy and ultimately became a psychologist. And then, together with a Methodist minister, a Hindu priest, and a renegade Catholic priest, launched what became the new seminary, and he himself launched the new synagogue. He talked to us a lot about how shattered he had been by the news, and I'm sure you can only imagine how devastated you would be if it were your family that had died in those circumstances. But his life was not about staying in that place. It was about moving on. It was about forgiveness. And in that spirit, the high holy days of the Jewish tradition were extremely important to him. And they have been important to me as well. And so today's service, on the eve of the High Holy Days, begins. This story is from Rabbi William Silverman. A famous rabbi was missing from his place in the synagogue on the eve of the Day of Atonement. The elders went out searching for him, and they found him caring for a sick child. "Rabbi," they said, "why aren't you in the synagogue?" And he said, "Do you see what I am doing?" "But Rabbi," they said, "it is your duty to be in the synagogue praying." The rabbi said, "I am praying. Every act of kindness is a prayer that walks, moves, breathes, and lives." Tomorrow, as the sun goes down, the first day of the Jewish New Year will begin as Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is a 2-day celebration. It will end when Yom Kippur arrives October 1st and then ends on October 2nd. While the holy days will be over, the recitation of penitential and confessional prayers completed around the world, the need for kindness and the making of amends never ends. The 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are the days of awe, the days of self-examination, confession, making amends, and repentance. Not to relieve one's conscience, although that might happen, but to notice, to pay attention to God's judgments about one's future in the coming year, and on Yom Kippur in particular, to realize that one's fate for the year ahead has been sealed. For an observant Jew, this period begins with a celebration of Rosh Hashanah. Which marks the beginning of each year in the Jewish calendar. This year is 5,786. It puts the Christian calendar in perspective, doesn't it? 5,786. It's the anniversary of the creation of the world. It is also a day of judgment on which God begins determining people's fates for the coming year. This year, I will be observing the custom of Tashlich tonight, the evening before Rosh Hashanah. I used to do this with my daughter when she was at home. As the sun comes down, we stand at our kitchen window. Sometimes we went to the beach, and we take turns naming aloud those behaviors we have regretted from the past year. letting go of them symbolically as breadcrumbs that we drop into a large bowl of water. When I did it with her, it took quite a while to release all those crumbs. Quite a while. Then we hugged when she was home, and we talked about loving each other and ourselves, and what it takes to be good and real about our feelings. Not just the nice ones, but the nasty ones. When we were finished, we wished each other Shana Tova, a good year, and then we ate sliced apples dipped in honey to remind us of the sweetness of life. In 2004, and all of you were alive then, the Universalist homecoming was celebrated on Yom Kippur. Danny Davidoff was the moderator of the UUA at that time, and she got up to speak. She talked about her Jewish childhood. She mentioned that what disturbed her the most about Yom Kippur as a young Jew was that many of the people she saw at the temple on that occasion were never present during the rest of the year. If you are religious, she said, you live your religion no matter what day of the year it is. You live it every day. You come to the temple for more than one service a year. This reminds me of Christmas and Easter and other occasions. My family was once described by a fellow seminarian as Sunday Christians because we only went to church on Sundays. I thought that was a lot. That was plenty for me. But it was said in a very condemning way. Oh yeah, you were Sunday Christians. Now the rabbi in the story understood this. He understood the need to be there. He understood that practicing kindness is an everyday religion. Even the Dalai Lama teaches this when he says, my religion is kindness. It's not a Sunday kind of love. It's a way of being and living. For us, as practicing Unitarian Universalists, this means we remember our 8 principles when we breathe and speak and move. That our actions must manifest our core values. We must be mindful of our thoughts and our doings with one another and with everyone who is in any way other. What does this have to do with letting go? Everything. Everything. Because we are constantly challenged to respect the inherent worth and dignity of every person. If we could really do that, we would actually be loving others, letting them be people of equal value to our own. How difficult that can be. Our minds are filled with what Buddhists call monkey chatter all day long. That maniac tailgating behind us on the highway. That thoughtless parent, that candidate, that commentator. You know what I mean. How often do we find ourselves thinking and behaving as if we were good, superior, as if we were the only civilized people in the room, at the march, at the game, in the conversation? But isn't it all a matter of opinion? And we are not alone in this. Each of us, regardless of everything else about us, struggles with the tension between what Carl Jung might call our higher and lower selves, with our shadow sides, where our more self-centered thoughts and drives lie in wait, just waiting to jump out. How long has it been since you said or did something you regretted? An hour? A day? A week? A year? How long has it been since you apologized for being unkind or even cruel to someone else? These are questions worth reviewing because our bodies store the emotions we will not acknowledge, and because the suppression of our shadow side usually leads to its sunlight appearance in a crazed fashion. And because suppression and repression are soul killers. Not only do we hurt ourselves, others get hurt by us. The high holy days allow these spirits to air themselves and offer a way to heal ourselves. What do we as Unitarian Universalists do with our imperfections, our shortcomings, our bad boy, bad girl behaviors? UU minister Reverend Fred Muir admitted in a book he wrote some time ago called Heretic's Faith that the words and practice of forgiveness and confession still have meaning for him. He wrote, "The theme of those 10 days is really compassion and transformation. Forgiveness and confession are just opportunities to examine what you've been doing with life, a way to acknowledge what you've done and then get on with it. You dwell on it for 10 days, then you let it go, and you start over. Compassion, transformation, liberation, these are the results of the high holy days." And then he tells this story. You may have heard it before. I've heard it in other places. 2 monks on a pilgrimage came to the ford of a river. There they saw a girl dressed in all her finery, obviously not knowing what to do since the river was high and she did not want to spoil her clothes. Without more ado, one of the monks took her on his back, carried her across, and put her down on dry ground on the other side of the river. Then the monks continued on their way. But after an hour, the other monks started complaining. "Surely it's not right to touch a woman. It is against the commandments to have close contact with women. How could you go against the rules of the monks?" The monk who had carried the girl walked along silently and finally said, "I set her down by the river an hour ago. Why are you still carrying her?" As Muir puts it, at a certain point you have to stop dwelling on what might have been wrong. You have to make a sincere effort to set things right that can be set right. Remembering, resolving, reconciling, confessing, and resisting are all steps in this process. Then compassion and transformation may occur, and as he says, we can move away from the way things are to the way things ought to be. Compassion and transformation. This is what living with religious integrity is all about. Tikkun olam is the Hebrew for the transformation and healing of the world. All the rest, said Rabbi Hillel, is commentary. It sounds so easy, and yet as proud animals, we often find it very difficult to admit that we have hurt one another or been hurt ourselves. We harbor grudges and misrepresent ourselves. Fritz Perls once noted that in the struggle between pride and memory, pride usually wins. Think about that. In Korea, unacknowledged hurt for which no amends have ever been made, this hurt is known as han. It is understood as both an individual and a systemic hurt. When it is individual, it poisons personal relationships with feelings of grief and rage that are often manifested in mental illness and pathological behaviors, including addictions, unemployment, and violent crime. When it is systemic, as in cases of enslavement, genocide, and political oppression, it leads to social chaos and collapse, to revolutions, and to multi-generational death. Han can only be resolved with the acknowledgement of a wrong or hurt, by the making of amends and by demonstrating sincere repentance. Unaddressed, it is ageless. It will never stop. Country singer Lyle Lovett tells us how he feels about hurt and betrayal in just one line. God forgives, he sings, but I don't. That's the difference between God and me. Think about that. God forgives, but I don't. That's the difference between God and me. So it's not enough to admit to it, as big a step as that might be. You have to do something with that admission As the Koreans deeply know, something that, as Muir might say, would set things right. Don Wheat wrote a book called In Pursuit of Joy. Perhaps at one time, he said, we thought of forgiveness as some great virtue, some luxury that we could bestow upon others. But the longer we live, the more we see it as a simple necessity, something that we do for ourselves more than we do for others. Indeed, forgiveness is about forgivingness, about giving something to ourselves through giving something to others. Now, when we get to the place where we can let go of our hurt, the heart that lies beneath anger, we can move forward. Sometimes we will then be able to reconcile with those who offended us, and sometimes we cannot. Perhaps because it wouldn't feel safe to get close to them or let them live close to us. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It means we are giving something obsessive away that will destroy us if we let it consume us. We are letting go. If we are going to transform our life, ours and the world's, from what it is into what it ought to be, we must be about the business of salvation or healing. Theologian Reinhold Niebuhr has said words that seem especially relevant on Atonement Day itself, October 1st, evening of October 1st into the night of October 2nd. Nothing worth doing is completed in our lifetime. Therefore, we are saved by hope. Nothing true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we are saved by faith. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. Therefore, we are saved by love. No virtuous act is quite as virtuous from the standpoint of our friend or foe as from our own. Therefore, we are saved by the final form of love, which is forgiveness. To practice our Universalist faith, Unitarian Universalist faith, we must live its principles, not once a week or once in a while, but every day. As a famous song goes, we can be kind, we can take care of each other. On the far side of feeling or inflicting hurt lies the land of forgiveness. It requires no passport to enter, only the courage to journey into your own heart. I am praying, said the rabbi. Every act of kindness is a prayer that walks and moves and breathes and lives. The traditional greeting on the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, is Gamar Katima Tova, which means, may you be sealed for a good year. May it be so for each of you this year and every year, to a good year, to life, l'chaim. Let's breathe in and out together 3 times. Breathing in and out, and in and out, and in and out. These words from Teresa Novak. Pray with me now, if you will. I think we need to pray. Pray with me now. Not out to some great intervener, a handsome stranger coming to the rescue. You don't have to barter your soul, your mind, your free and restless spirit. Pray with me now. We need to pray loudly sometimes, giving voice in word or gesture to the urgent fires within our hearts, screaming out, why this? How long? Screaming for help, for courage. Outrage rumbles through our veins, and the pulse of our prayer may be ragged, but pray with me now, if you will. I think we need to pray. We need to pray softly sometimes, our silent bodies held still, a quiet hope rising to the wind, blowing about the world in wonder. Pray with me now. Pray silently or out loud. Our very prayers are an answer, the pulse of life, of hope in our oh so human hearts. May our prayers be heard. Amen. I invite you now to rise in body or spirit as you're able, and let's join together in singing praise to the living God, a traditional Jewish hymn, words by Daniel ben Judah from the 14th century, and words the synagogue melody adapted in 1751. It's a very rousing song, so I hope you will sing it with feeling. How? Please be seated. These words from Barbara Peskin, and then some words from Julie Newhall. Because of those who came before, we are. In spite of their failings, we believe. Because of and in spite of the horizons of their vision, we too have dreams. Let us go remembering to praise, to live in the moment, to love mightily, to bow to the mystery. As you go forth today, may you be led by faith. Faith in the possibility of goodness in the world, and not by fear, fear of the other and the unknown. May you remember to extend your hands in love to those who cross your path. May you remember to walk gently on the earth, this garden planet that carries each of us alone, and yet all of us together across the sky. Go forth with courage and compassion to bring more justice and love into the world. Amen.